Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport today. And by Energy Sage. Time's running out in the US to get the benefit of federal tax incentives, so plan your energy independence today. And by you. Stick around to find out how you can help us remain 100% independent by joining us on Patreon this autumn. Welcome back to another episode of TEN Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. As I say in our Sunday videos over on Transport Evolved Take 2, I hope that you are well, safe, and with someone you care about who also cares for you. And for my fellow Canadians, happy Thanksgiving. I know it's a few days late, and I meant to say it in advance last week, but like I say, happy Thanksgiving. I hope, though, that you're not going to ask for my passport back, because I'm kind of fond of it. We're starting today's show with US EV sales data from the third quarter, and during July, August and September, EV sales in the US set new records, reaching a market share of 10.5%. The end of US federal tax credits last month influenced buying habits, with many bringing forward their usual end-of-year purchases by 3 months. In total, 437,487 EVs were sold in Q3, a 29.6% increase year over year. Tesla's Model Y and Model 3 remained the best sellers, though the Chevrolet Equinox EV closed the gap admirably, selling 25,000 units. While buyers had around 90 different EV models to choose from in the US during the quarter, I should note the top 3 accounted for most of the sales. Fourth quarter results in the US will be interesting, especially after the end of those EV incentives. Off the back of US EV sales last quarter and the predicted end of incentive push in September, Kelley Blue Book reported that the average transaction price for new cars in the US hit $50,000 for the first time. And for those unfamiliar, average transaction price, or ATP, is a statistical mean calculated by dividing the total sales values of all vehicles by the number sold. Traditionally, an increase in ATP has been indicative of more high-end or luxury vehicles being sold, but in recent years, higher EV sales have also contributed. Given the number of EVs sold last month, along with a higher proportion of luxury models from a range of fuel types, that ATP was pushed up. Interestingly, Electrek notes that ATP for EVs remained flat in September, down 0.4% from this time last year. General Motors may have had strong sales for its Chevrolet Equinox EV during that third quarter, but its latest regulatory filing is a clarion call that all is not well, and it's unlikely to be the last automaker to make such warning signs to Wall Street. The end of the US federal EV tax credit, thanks to the White House and congressional Republicans, is hitting the company hard. GM is writing down $1.6 billion in losses, $1.2 billion in non-cash adjustments to EV production capacity, and $400 million in cancelled contracts and settlements, as it rethinks its future production plans. This isn't GM saying it's stopping EV production, far from it, I'd hope, but it does show that even heavily invested automakers can feel the pinch when policy shifts leave EV incentives dangling. Fewer EVs made and sold in the US don't just affect the country, though, they also hinder the global fight against anthropogenic climate change. Luckily, though, not every country is following the US's anti-EV direction. In that third quarter, the Volkswagen Group, which includes Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Skoda and Seat, recorded sizable EV growth. According to figures published this week, the group sold a total of 252,100 EVs in Q3, a year-over-year increase of 33.1%. Volkswagen's biggest gains came from the US and Europe, where year-over-year growth reached 213.5% and 60% respectively. Not all markets enjoyed a surge, though. Chinese sales fell 55.2% over the same period. While Volkswagen doesn't really rely on the US market as heavily as GM, this spike ahead of the end of tax credits may still be felt by the company in the coming quarter. Like Volkswagen, Polestar's EV sales in China haven't been great in recent years, but as the brand officially leaves retail sales in China, it's now recording its best quarter yet. It's just released figures showing Polestar's retail sales in the third quarter rose to 14,192 units, a 13% increase year over year. While the brand still represents a small slice of global EV sales, it has just sold 44,482 EVs during the first 9 months of this year. That's already as many as it sold in all of last year. The strong third quarter performance shows that Polestar is recovering its footing as a niche automaker, and I'm encouraged to see the brand grow its sales volume after cutting its losses in China. China may not be a great market for Volkswagen or Polestar, but just published official sales data from the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in China shows that EV and plug-in hybrid sales there are still soaring. Every second vehicle sold in China during September came with a plug, either as a battery electric vehicle or a plug-in hybrid. Collectively known as new energy vehicles, sales data shows a clear shift towards BEVs, which accounted for more than 1 million of the 1.6 million NEVs sold. BYD led the pack, with nearly 400,000 of the 1.6 million NEVs wearing its badge. Geely and SAIC also performed well, while Tesla sold just over 71,500 BEVs. Snapping at its heels was Leap Motor with 66,607 NEVs and Xiaomi with just under 42,000 units, despite its very short time in the EV marketplace. It's official. As previewed in last week's show, Aptera has now officially joined the Nasdaq, trading under the stock symbol SEV. The company entered the market on Thursday through a direct listing rather than an IPO or SPAC deal, which means the listing itself did not raise new capital. That's caused some concern among financial analysts, particularly given that Aptera had only $13 million of funding left at the end of June, and the direct listing doesn't include a lock-up period for the company's co-CEOs, meaning they could sell shares as they want. During its first full day of trading, Aptera's Class B stock swung wildly, ranging from $22.43 to $3.55, before closing its first day at $8 a share. What should help ease those concerns, though, is the news that just before listing, Aptera announced a new $75 million equity line of credit with New Circle Principal Investments LLC, which the company says will help it reach series production. An equity line of credit works like a flexible loan. The company can draw capital as needed, exchanging new shares for funding, giving Aptera the cash it says it needs to scale up series production. While many automakers are delaying, revising or even cancelling their EV plans, Kia has doubled down on its European EV production, announcing an expansion of its Slovak facility for the EV4 and upcoming EV2. The plant in Žilina began production of the EV4 in late August, marking both the facility's first EV output and the first time Kia's EVs have been made outside of South Korea for the European market. With demand for the EV4 already strong and interest in the soon-to-launch EV2 crossover building, Kia has confirmed plans to significantly increase EV production at the Žilina facility over the next 2 years, although right now it's targeting around 200,000 EVs per year. The long-term goal is to make Žilina Kia's main European EV hub, with potential capacities of up to 350,000 EVs per year if needed. We all know that EVs are generally far lower maintenance than their internal combustion engine counterparts. They have fewer moving parts, fewer components that require regular servicing, and their battery packs can often outlive the vehicles they're placed in. But just like ICE vehicles, sometimes spare parts are required, and components can fail before the end of their planned life. For owners of older EVs, there's often concern about finding replacement parts after production ends, as generational advances in EV tech can mean fewer components are shared between successive models. This week, there's good news from Europe. Tier 1 parts supplier Valeo, in partnership with the remakers, has launched a remanufacturing program for the onboard inverters used in the Renault ZOE hatch. These inverters both drive the traction motor and enable three-phase charging. The program saves roughly 45% of raw materials compared with new parts, supports a circular economy, and ensures cars can continue to be used and enjoyed well into their second decade, which is particularly important as some of those very first Renault ZOEs are approaching their 13th birthday. We've watched Stellantis own brands, including Jeep, Dodge and Ram, roll back and cancel EV production goals in the US. And in a previous episode of TEN, I shared my frustration at how the brand seems determined to impress those on Capitol Hill who love V8s and are skeptical of EVs. This week, Stellantis took another step in that anti-EV direction, announcing a massive $13 billion investment in US production and sales, the largest investment in its 100-year history. That investment will expand US production by 50%, launch 5 new models, and update 19 more. The only plug-in planned? A new large SUV, which will be offered as an internal combustion engine, and maybe a range-extended EV, although Stellantis remains very non-committal on that. The rest of those vehicles? All ICE. And here at Transport Evolved, we remain very much anti-ICE and pro-frog. And if you're in the US, you aren't a big fan of fossil fuels, and you want to make your own energy at home using methods I know frogs are going to like, you should probably check out today's video sponsor, Energy Sage. Energy Sage connects you with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help guide you through the process of installing solar panels or getting a heat pump installed. Not a homeowner? No worries. Energy Sage can still help you green your electricity by helping you join a community solar program. We used Energy Sage ourselves when looking for installers willing to put solar panels on the roof of our home, and their verified pros are knowledgeable and even introduced us to a great credit union that allowed us to finance the project with low monthly payments. As I have been saying for months now, incentives for solar, including savings of as much as 30% through the federal tax credit program, will disappear in less than 3 months. Unfortunately, solar projects take time, so if you want to lock in those savings, it's important to act now because you no longer have time to dawdle. Follow the links below to sign up for Energy Sage's free, no-obligation service and get the ball rolling today. And if you choose an Energy Sage installer, we will also receive a small referral fee. So you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, gain energy independence, and support this channel? It's a win-win, win-win. We're off to recall reminders now, and as a reminder, full details of these are available on our website if they affect you. Tesla has recalled 260 Model Y cars from the current model year to address a faulty reverse light circuit. The issue requires a dealer appointment to fix and cannot be fixed via over-the-air updates. Mack Trucks is recalling nearly 16,000 big rigs, including some MD electric models, to address improperly welded seatbelt anchors. It will reach out to customers to arrange a fix. Finally, for the recalls, Nissan is recalling some 19,000 2021 and 2022 model year Nissan LEAFs to address an overheating battery pack while DC fast charging. Owners will be notified. And that's it for your recall reminders. Now it's time for the news shorts. And as usual, you'll find links to all the covered stories on our website at www.transportevolved.com. Renault has announced that fans of its Twingo E-Tech can sign up to get in line ahead of its launch, thanks to the Renault Twingo R Pass programme. But hurry, because that programme closes next week. Iveco has unveiled a new all-electric variant of its daily transporter, configured as a minibus. Called the eDaily LE, LE stands for low entry floor, it seats 13 passengers and can carry up to 27. Tesla has sparked customer frustration by including advertising in its latest over-the-air update. The promotion, a tie-in with Disney's latest Tron movie, Tron Ares, has many owners feeling this is a step too far. The Irish government has announced a major investment in the nation's electric vehicle charging network. Its latest funding round, Phase 3, will fund 90 new DC fast charging locations. The Chinese government is changing its rules for NEV incentives, raising the minimum zero-emission range for applicability. Only models offering more than 100 kilometres of all-electric range, about 62 miles, will now be eligible for subsidies. A new ICCT study finds that electrifying Europe's truck fleet by 2030 will need 22 to 28 gigawatts of additional installed charging capacity. ICCT says overnight charging will be the most important. Nissan has refreshed the design of its Ariya SUV, bringing it in line with the just-launched LEAF. The updated Ariya, though, will not be sold in North America, where only the LEAF will be available. Battery firm Cull has invested in cold plasma firm Intercells, gaining access to its patented technology for use in future battery cell production. The move is aimed at improving efficiency and performance in next-generation EV battery cells. Mercedes-Benz has expanded its CLA EQ lineup with a new entry-level model. The CLA 200 with EQ technology uses an LFP battery pack and starts from just under €50,000. The Chinese government has filed an official complaint with the World Trade Organization against India, alleging that its incentives for EVs and battery cells violate global trade rules and create an uneven playing field. Cadillac has opened order books in Europe for its Optiq EV. Larger than the Lyric EV, it will initially be offered in France, Germany, Sweden and Switzerland, with additional markets expected to follow shortly. In a surprise twist, while the takeover of insolvent eVTOL company Lilium by AAMG fell through in the 12th hour, Lilium's patent portfolio has apparently been sold to rival firm Archer Aviation. More news as and when we have it. Oregon-based charging app Chargeway, disclaimer, we've done production work for them in the past, now shows real-time pricing for thousands of public charges across North America. Chargeway Plus, $5.99 a month, lets owners see estimated costs based on battery, state of charge, charge limit and time of day. Tesla is finding a way through its Cybertruck overstock by selling vehicles to SpaceX and XAI, moving inventory that hasn't yet found customers and avoiding the embarrassment of sitting on unsold trucks. Waymo is expanding its autonomous ride-hailing service in London, marking its first European market. Testing with safety drivers will start soon, with fully driverless operations planned from next year. The UK government, through its Drive 35 programme, is funding a study with Toyota to explore a lightweight electric quadricycle based on Toyota's FT-ME concept. The project will assess feasibility, design and potential marketing opportunities for the vehicle. CATL has announced its battery testing centre in Germany, where it tests battery cells for Porsche and Audi EVs, is doubling its testing capacity. The expansion will increase potential EV cell production output. Verizon, in partnership with two firms, has launched a new charging solution for commercial van operators. ChargePoint will handle commercial installations, while Hypervolt will focus on a residential charging support for fleet drivers. Nissan has officially launched the new LEAF across mainland Europe. Built in the UK, it offers a WLTP test range of up to 622 kilometres, with deliveries set to begin in the new year. Mercedes-Benz has revealed its new Vision Iconic concept car. Fully electric, it features solar paint, level 4 autonomous driving and styling that looks straight out of a 1930s retrofuturist silent film. Australia Post has expanded its EV delivery fleet with 500 new three-wheelers, each able to carry up to 150 small parcels with a range of 180 kilometres per charge. PowerCo, a Volkswagen's battery subsidiary, has signed a new deal with IBU Tech Advanced Materials to enable volume production of LFP battery packs for EVs, starting in 2026. In its just-announced budget, Norway has proposed a lowering of its VAT exemption threshold for EVs, one of several incentives that helped the country achieve near-total EV market dominance. Candela brought one of its C8 hydrofoiling electric boats to Washington, D.C. this week in the US to showcase the benefits of electric watercraft, aiming to convince lawmakers that zero-emission commuting by water is the future. That said, it might have a rough ride. The Trump administration has just cancelled the Esmeralda 7 solar project in Nevada. The farm would have been the largest in North America, but apparently generating clean power isn't the priority when dirty coal still gets a pass. Meanwhile, offshore wind specialist Ørsted is slashing at least 2,000 jobs, a quarter of its workforce, directly tied to Trump's anti-wind policies. 8,000 people are currently employed by the company. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul has just announced shy of $80 million in state funding to help 7 transit providers across New York State transition to zero-emission transit solutions. BMW has unveiled an electric vehicle with a difference this week, the BMW X Slipperboards. A collaboration with Slipperboards, it combines BMW's eDrive power with paddleboard fun. Lucid has officially started deliveries in Canada of its Gravity Grand Touring SUV. The car, which starts at $134,500 Canadian dollars, is now available nationwide. Bulgaria's government has announced a new interagency partnership that's resulted in the installation of DC fast chargers at railway stations across the country. It will start with 35 locations next year. Einride has expanded its partnership with PostNord to grow autonomous electric delivery operations across Norway, targeting 1.3 million kilometres of electrified parcel and mail deliveries every year. Reporting from Europe suggests BYD is eyeing a third EV production facility in the region, this time in Spain. It would join planned factories already being made in Hungary and Turkey. Stellantis, the electric vehicle brand from Akonia, has opened its first battery swap stations in the Paris metro area. It plans to expand the network across to the French Riviera by the end of the year. The city of Hamburg in Germany has announced plans to become 100% carbon neutral by 2040. Following a city vote, the target has been moved forwards by 5 years from its previous goal. Chinese eVTOL specialist EHang has unveiled a new aircraft called the VT-35. Like its already approved EH-216S, it can take off and land vertically, but the VT-35 flies more like a conventional airplane once airborne. After several decades of in-house research and development without any commercial products, GM has closed its in-house hydrogen fuel cell program. It will, however, continue FCV development through an established partnership with Honda. XPeng's flying car division, formerly XPeng Airhot, has rebranded as Aridge. The company has already secured an order for 600 flying cars from the Middle East. The Canadian government is investing in electric vehicle charging along Canada's east coast, installing 157 new stations across Atlantic provinces. And finally for the news shorts, after years of jokes about EVs and Duracell batteries, Duracell has finally launched its first fast charging stations. And yes, they really do look like giant 9-volt battery packs. And I'm not joking, it's not an April Fool's joke. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Before we get to our final 2 stories, I'd like to spend some time to speak directly to you. Transport Evolved has been bringing independent news about cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable transportation to you for 15 years, 10 of those here in the US. We are a tiny, fully independent team. There's just 3 full-time and 1 part-time member of staff, and without your support, we would frankly no longer exist. This month, YouTube's ad revenue is on track to be the lowest it's ever been, at least in my memory, partly because the platform is taking a bigger cut of everyone's ad revenue, and partly because it's quietly limiting the reach of new content from trans and queer creators, something we're not alone in experiencing, and that's affecting how often our videos are seen and our channel recommended. In our place, we're now seeing a bunch of AI craft and just hyper-divisive content. And that is why we are holding a special pledge drive through the months of September and October. From as little as $1.50 a month on Patreon, you can help Transport Evolved stay alive, independent and visible. Keep an eye out in the coming weeks as we share feedback from some of the amazing people who make this channel possible, like Jim Garrett. He says he supports TE because he values quality, clean transportation for everyone, appreciates personal software freedom, enjoys watching us on PeerTube and interacting with the team via Mastodon, and loves the focus on open source, free software, right to repair, and DIY EV stories. So if you're thinking of joining the amazing community of folk already supporting us here, now is the perfect time. Your support keeps Transport Evolved going. And if you are already a Patreon supporter who would like to be featured right here, there's still time during our autumn drive. So reach out if you'd like to be featured, just like Jim was. And now it's time for those last two stories. As electrical grids come under increasing strain from AI and server farms, having backup power at home is more important than ever before. In recent years, several products have promised to help, including the DCbel Ara, a DC fast charging capable V2G system. More powerful than many home setups, it combines a dual charging station with vehicle-to-grid technology, solar inverters, and the ability to charge your EV directly from rooftop solar without converting the power to AC and then back again. Now the company has opened its US order books and is inviting customers to sign up. For $200, customers can place a deposit to get in line. Honestly, I wish I could try it myself because it looks genuinely impressive, and as far as I know, it's a one-of-a-kind in the EV and home energy space because of its DC charging and EV solar capabilities. And finally, if you are an established EV nerd, you'll know the joy of using EVs in motorsports. They're quick in corners, fast off the line, and just plain fun to drive. It's one of the best ways to experience the potential performance of electric power firsthand. And now, eVTOL startup Jetson, maker of the Jetson 1 personal eVTOL, has debuted a concept called the Jetson Air Games. Think of it as a close-course air racing system similar in style to stunt plane competitions, but designed to highlight how agile, responsive, and easy to fly the Jetson 1 is in tight, three-dimensional spaces. The entry point, of course, is steep. You'll need a Jetson 1 of your own, but if enough qualified pilots take to the skies, this could be the start of a fun, high-flying, zero-emission competitive race series. But is this a yay or a nay from you? Let me know below. And on that flight of fancy, we're done with today's show. But first, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring us. The EVA has been advocating for EVs since 1967 and remains firmly committed to a cleaner, greener future for all. Join the EVA today to find out how you can become an EV educator, meet like-minded fans, and get help to make your own transition to electric. Help that includes a low-interest loan program that allows you to finance your next step. Find out more at myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to plan your own energy-independent future before those tax credits vanish. And thanks to you. If you can, please consider supporting us from just $1.50 a month on Patreon. With US healthcare debacle as it is, I know that healthcare costs are going to rise this coming year, and without increasing our channel's income, well, as the company owner, I say it's going to be difficult to make ends meet. And I want to give my team healthcare. So if you're willing and able, even if it's just the equivalent of a fancy coffee every 6 months, I and the team would be very grateful. And I do really mean able. And remember, if you're unable to financially support us, sharing our content and engaging on social media also helps expose us to more people, and it really helps a lot. And don't forget, if you join Patreon this autumn, you'll also get a special exclusive piece of digital art by the lovely Erin featuring the entire team. Hopefully I remember to put it on screen this time. We publish every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday on this channel, and every Sunday we drop 2 videos on Transport Evolved Take 2, which is a more informal, behind-the-scenes channel. And in closing, the usual important words. You're valid, you are loved, and you belong. I know this week has been tough. It's definitely been tough for me. I've had many brainworms, and it looks like it's only going to get tougher. And if you are among those increasingly marginalised groups that are being marginalised just for existing or being your authentic self, I want you to know that you are not alone. We live in an age where gaslighting by those in power is routine, revisionist history is normalised, and lies are treated like gospel. It's a lot, it's overwhelming, and it's scary. Division and hate aren't just tolerated, they're encouraged. And in times like these, kindness and empathy aren't just virtues, they're acts of radical resistance. Remember, empathy is not a weakness, it is a skill we must practice to hold on to our shared humanity. Be fearless. Speak your truth. I also want to remind you it's okay to step back if you need to unplug, to get outside. Dive into a book or an album or a game, or spend time with people you care about. Care for yourself so that you can return ready to fight for decency, community and justice. Do not let the you-know-whats win. Embrace your awesomeness and let your light shine. And if you are protesting peacefully this weekend at No Kings rallies, do so with care, forethought and strategy. Channel your inner inflatable frock army. Wherever you are, whoever you love, you are not alone. Be an ally, be kind, be that positive change you want to see in the world. Do not let hate or ignorance win. As always, keep evolving.